Subchapter 1. The Meteor Shower. The night sky was alive, streaked with brilliant fire. The girl stood on the quiet hillside, watching the meteor shower unfold in waves of silver and gold. She had seen shooting stars before, whispered wishes into the dark, but this was something different. One streak burned brighter than the rest, its descent not fleeting but deliberate, as if resisting the inevitable. Her breath caught as it grew larger, closer until, with a soundless tremor, it hit the ground beyond the trees. No explosion, no fire. Just a pulse, faint and eerie, like the heavens exhaling. A terrible instinct clawed at her. Go, find it. Subchapter 2. The Discovery. She shouldn't have gone. Every instinct told her to turn back, but curiosity or something deeper compelled her forward. The forest was unnaturally quiet. No wind, no rustling leaves, just the steady pulse of tension in the air. She stepped past the fallen branches toward the crater that wasn't quite a crater. Instead of destruction, the earth had simply bent inward, cradling something at its heart. A boy. Silver hair caught the moonlight, streaked with glimmers that pulsed faintly. His clothes strange, shimmering like threads woven from the night sky, and his eyes. She expected panic, confusion. Instead, they held wonder, like he was seeing the world for the first time. He spoke soft, uncertain. Where am I? Subchapter 3. Sheltering the unknown, he was too fragile to be left in the open. Whatever had brought him here, whatever he was, had left him shaken, vulnerable. She helped him stand, his weight unsettlingly light, as if gravity had yet to fully claim him. He moved with an odd grace, unsure but instinctive, like he was learning how to exist. The walk back was silent, save for the rhythmic sound of their steps against the damp earth. She kept glancing at him, searching for signs of fear, of understanding. But he didn't ask where they were going, didn't demand answers, only observed, as though trying to piece together his place in this world. When they reached her home, he hesitated at the doorway. Something about crossing into a shelter, into something human, felt like an irreversible step. You can stay here, she said softly, ignoring the creeping uncertainty pressing against the edges of her thoughts. He looked at her, and for the first time, she saw something flicker behind his eyes, something not quite human. Subchapter 4. The first signs the night pressed against the windows, thick and restless. She had brought the boy inside, given him warmth, shelter, but unease lingered in the air, like the house itself knew something had shifted. He sat across from her, fingers trailing curiously over the fabric of the blanket she'd given him. His movements were slow, deliberate, as though feeling was something entirely new to him. Outside, the stars flickered, not twinkling, but pulsing, erratic and wrong. She tried to ignore it. But then came the whisper. Not a voice, not a sound, but something deeper, threading through her bones. A sensation that curled around her heart, warning her, calling for him. The boy froze. His breath caught, his fingers tightening in the fabric. Somewhere in the dark, they were searching for him. Subchapter 5. The ominous clue, he gasped suddenly, a sharp intake of breath that made her flinch. His fingers pressed against his temples, brows furrowing as something surfaced, something just beyond his reach. His glowing eyes flickered, dimming and brightening in waves, as if struggling against an unseen force. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, "They're coming." The words sent ice through her veins. She turned toward the window. The sky was different now, wrong. Stars that had shone moments ago had vanished, swallowed by unnatural darkness. A shiver traced down her spine. They weren't just searching. They were here. Chapter 2. The Quiet Before the Storm Chapter 1. The silence before the storm. The air inside the house had changed. It pressed against them, heavier than before, as if the walls were holding their breath. She sat across from him, watching him. He sat across from her, watching nothing at all. His silver-streaked hair dulled in the dim light, his glow fading just slightly, a quiet reminder that time was working against him. She wanted to ask if he felt it too, the way the shadows stretched just a little too long, the way the air crackled with something unspeakable. But the silence held them still. He touched the fabric of his sleeve, studying the way it folded against his skin, as if the concept of clothing was still new to him. "Something's wrong," he murmured. She almost laughed. Of course something was wrong. A boy had fallen from the sky, and now unseen things were hunting him. But the way he said it made her skin crawl. It wasn't just danger. It was something deeper. Something watching. Outside the window, the night wasn't just dark. It felt hollow, like the stars had shrunk away. They weren't safe here. And they both knew it. Chapter 2. Fragments of Truth. The silence wasn't just around them, it was inside him. Something was trying to surface, tangled in the fading glow beneath his skin, flickering like dying embers. He pressed his fingers against his forehead, a deep crease forming between his brows. "I remember." His voice was distant, brittle, falling. She leaned closer, watching him, searching for meaning in the uncertainty clouding his expression. Falling, not just arriving, not just descending, falling. "Were you escaping?" She asked, the words barely more than a whisper. He shook his head, slowly at first, then stopped. Doubt crept into his face, twisting at the edges. His memories weren't whole, just shattered pieces drifting back to him in waves. A flash of light, a voice calling his name or the name he had before he lost it. Then pain. Something had sent him here. Something had torn him from the sky. And whatever had done, it wasn't finished with him yet. Chapter 3. A plan formed. She stood, moving toward the window, heart hammering. The stars had shifted again, rearranging or retreating. Every instinct told her to run, to pull him out of this house, out of this town, and keep moving until the sky stopped feeling like a threat. But where could they go? Behind her, the boy exhaled shakily, gripping the blanket in his lap. "They won't stop." She turned. "Why? What did you do?" His fingers tightened. "I existed where I shouldn't have." That wasn't an answer. It was a warning. She scanned the room, searching for anything useful. A map, a weapon, something old with knowledge buried in its pages. Her hands found an old book, dusty from neglect. Maybe it held answers, maybe it was nothing. But she had to try. If they stayed, they'd be found. If they ran, they'd be hunted. But if they really understood what he was, then maybe they could change the rules of the game. Chapter 4. The first move, Jay, the decision had been made. She shoved essentials into a bag: food, water, the book she'd found, though she wasn't sure why. It felt important. Like something bigger than instinct was guiding her hands. The boy stood near the door, his glow flickering unevenly, as if the energy within him fought to hold its shape. He didn't ask where they were going. He just knew they had to. Outside, the stars pulsed in warning, then a shift. The air thickened, pressing inward. The edges of the room seemed to stretch, bending toward something unseen. The boy staggered, his breath catching as an invisible force pulled at him. Something wasn't waiting for them to run. Something was already here. Echoes of the eclipse as the solar eclipse fades. Alara finds herself stumbling through the streets of her great-great-grandmother's town in 1899, heart racing. The cobblestone roads, gaslit lamps, and unfamiliar figures all confirm that this isn't a dream. She has truly traveled back in time. Panic sets in, but she quickly realizes she has no time to waste. If she ever wants to return home, she must solve the murder before the eclipse comes again. Meanwhile, Izzy grapples with the strange emptiness of 2023. Alara, as absence feels like a missing puzzle piece in a world that no longer makes sense. As she searches for answers, She uncovers an old journal, its weathered pages detailing eerie accounts of past eclipses, strange disappearances, and an ancient order sworn to protect the town from a looming darkness. The deeper Izzy digs, the more she realizes that the town she thought she knew holds secrets far older than she could have imagined. Back in 1899, Alara enlists the help of a reluctant sheriff, a hardened but insightful man who knows every crevice of the town. Together, they begin piecing together the story of the murdered victim, a scholar researching the eclipse's supernatural effects. But with every clue comes a new danger. The townspeople are tight-lipped, their eyes darting away when the victim's name is mentioned. And worse, Alara senses she is being watched. Soon, she comes face to face with the town's deepest fear, the vampire coven that lurks in the shadows. Whispers of their existence have circulated for decades, but now Alara must confront them head-on. With the help of a mysterious stranger who seems to know more about the curse than he lets on, Alara navigates between betrayal and trust, seeking justice for the murder while fighting to survive. Time is slipping away, and she knows that if she doesn't solve the mystery soon, she may never leave this time, or worse, she may be the next name added to the list of the missing. As the pieces start to fit together, Izzy realizes her role is just as vital. If she can uncover enough about the past, she may be able to help Alara from the future. But will they unravel the truth before the next eclipse seals their fate? Subchapter 1. The Architect's Domain. The ship trembled as it passed through the unseen veil, slipping into a space untouched by time. The stars did not move here, they hovered, frozen in a vast canvas of light and silence. Then the descent. A city, or what remained of one. The ruins stretched infinitely, carved from something that shimmered like fractured starlight. Towers long abandoned, streets lined with monuments to forgotten constellations. The wandering seeker gasped softly. It's real. At the heart of it all, a great chamber pulsed like a dying star, dim and waiting. And within it, the architect of light, not a god nor a ruler, something more, something ancient. Their form was both humanoid and celestial, woven from strands of time itself, their presence bending space as they turned toward the fallen star. I have seen you before, the architect murmured, voice carrying the weight of countless ages. And I know why you have come. The boy hesitated. His light was fading faster now. The architect watched, studied, then finally spoke. But tell me, before I decide whether you are worthy of rebirth, do you remember why you fell? Subchapter 2. The Truth of the Fallen. The boy hesitated. The architect's question, simple, yet impossibly heavy, unsettled something deep inside him. Did he remember why he fell? He searched his mind, reaching for fragments of memory that refused to settle. There was a voice, a warning, a choice. Something had sent him here. Something had cast him down. The architect waited, their forms shifting slightly, as though they themselves were uncertain. You do not know, do you? The boy closed his eyes, trying to summon the answer, and then a flash. Light splitting, hands reaching for him, pulling or letting go. A shadow in the cosmos, watching. His breath caught. He staggered, gripping his chest as his glow flickered. The architect exhaled, turning toward the crumbling remains of their domain. Then you must understand something, little star. They lifted a hand, and suddenly the past bled into the present. A vision unfolded, wrapping around them like a storm. The boy saw it, felt it. The fall was no accident. He was sent away. And the worst part? He had agreed to it. Subchapter 3. The Cost of Restoration. The architects stood in silence, their gaze heavy with knowing. You chose to fall, they said. But the choice to rise again is not yours alone. The boy's glow flickered. His strength was fading. He needed starlight, but the architect did not offer it freely. There is a price, they continued. Something must be given in return. You are not simply restored. You're changed. The girl stepped forward, her jaw tightening. What kind of price? The architect tilted their head, considering. A memory. A piece of time, a fragment of existence. The boy shivered. Somewhere deep in him, something resisted. A memory, he whispered. The architect nodded. The most precious one you hold. Silence fell. What would he have to forget? Who would he have to lose? Subchapter 4. The Awakening. The boy hesitated. The architect's words settled over him like a weight too vast to bear. A memory, a piece of himself. Was it worth it? His glow flickered again, fainter now, struggling to hold shape. Time was running out. The girl's voice cut through the silence. You said he chose to fall. Why? The architect watched him, expectant. Because some things must be forgotten in order to be free. The boy closed his eyes. He could feel it, the moment pressing against him, the decision waiting to be made. Then, slowly, he stepped forward. I accept. The architect lifted their hand, and for the briefest moment, everything stopped. The stars ceased their movement. The world hushed, and then light erupted. A warmth unlike anything he had ever known surged through him, threading through his veins, filling the hollow spaces inside him. But something else was gone, a name, a face. A piece of him slipping through his fingers like stardust. He would never know what it was, only that it was the cost of his rebirth. The architect lowered their hand. Their forms shimmered, growing distant. You are whole again. But he knew he was not the same. And somewhere beyond the veil, the hunters had felt it. Final scene. A new light. The architect watched in silence as the boy's glow steadied, no longer fragile, no longer fading. But something in his eyes had changed, something missing, something unknowable. The girl stood beside him, watching, searching, as if she could see the gap where his lost memory once existed, even though he could not. The wandering seeker exhaled. You're whole, but... The ship shuddered. A ripple passed through the architect's domain, stretching outward, unseen but felt. Beyond the veil of time, somewhere in the dark, the hunters shifted as if they had sensed it, as if they knew. The architect's gaze deepened. Your journey is not finished. The ship hummed, no longer waiting, no longer lost. It had found its way. The boy turned toward the stars, his glow not just restored but changed. And when he stepped forward, the galaxy itself seemed to move with him.